Welcome to Project Ozone 2, Kappa Mode, episode 21. What do we got cooking right now? We got tin and lead. Singularities here. I got what, 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 or so on the go. These two are almost done. Oh wait, lead is done. So since lead is done, the redstone we see is kicked off. So let's go here. Actually, let's break this first. It overshoots a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, this is all free, right? The redstone kicked off, which then kicked off this toggle bus. You can see it's offline in the tooltip, which means the export bus is offline. Now the reason I didn't use a redstone card in here to control the export bus is because you lose speed. Having 3 acceleration cards and a redstone card would allow me to control the export bus, but it's a lot slower. So we go to Singularity here. The next one's going to be silver, and then I'm just going to put ferrous on that side. And then we're going to export ferrous blocks, and then we're going to pop this guy down here after he's been reset. And I guess I can clear that. That's kind of a visual indicator for me. I was doing a lot of work in my yard. IRL, I think. IRL? Is that how that goes? Anyways, every few hours I was coming in here and seeing the progress, and it took like, I think all Saturday, Sunday. I didn't get much done. It was like over 4 or 5 hours, I think, to make one of those. So I definitely got to speed something up. I got to get more online. So we're tossing in ferrous blocks right now. That is cool. And then after one of the singularities get made, I can set the monitor. Because unfortunately, you cannot set it without an item. Let's pop on over to the east, north. What's my directions? North side of the base. Well, we're no longer putting a turbine from big reactors here because all thanks to solar panels and not this useless piece of junk, we don't need RF anymore. I guess he's still gonna kick on and off, but he's only creating like what? Like 1.5, maybe 2 million RF a tick when it's fully loaded and the control rods are fully inserted. Actually, I only have solar panel 10. Yeah, like 15 million. If I was to start duping the next tier, oh wow. So I'd almost double, maybe, ish. Because all I need to sacrifice is 1 infinity star with my 4 10s to get the 11, and then I can EMC it. So I'm just going to feed Ludicrite directly into here, and instead of having AE2 then, pull the items out and repurpose them, they're going to go directly into these item translocators that apparently are pretty fast. See how there's stars coming out of these two? I'm going to put a third one here, and this is just a quick little subnet. It literally is just an interface and that. I was throwing in Ludicrite blocks into here, and the system's going to pull them out and just feed them into here. And I was checking for distribution, how even it is. Originally, what I wanted to do, when I realized my setup over there was way too slow, was to put one of these for every single type. But again, I forgot the compressor, the Neutron compressor. You can't EMC it. You go in here. My restriction right now is Neutronium. This block, these plates, everything else here I can do no problem. And then I could just absolutely mass produce these. So yeah, what I was doing here last episode, I don't think makes sense anymore. I thought it was kind of cool. It was a fun little puzzle to build, but all these items that are just sitting in here now are probably never going to really be needed. I'll have them, I guess, if I need them, but I'm just going to start duping, sending Ludicrite directly to interfaces to supply these, kind of cut out the middleman, if that makes sense. So what I really need to do now, though, is improve my Ludicrite production. And I'm still not happy with this. It's an interesting proof of concept, but it needs to be bigger. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out AE2 crafting, how to like really speed it up. It really seems like the crafting thing here, what do you call it? The crafter tier 3. It really seems like it is the fast way to do things. Is that actually pumping out items right now? That's crazy. It's actually happening so quickly. Wait, fast? Snail, snail. We click that, will it go fast? Is it actually happening so fast I can't even see it? Yeah, I've got them in the wrong mode. But now it's actually happening so fast we can't even supply it enough gear. Which I guess is fine. So what I've done here, of course, is each interface has got a couple sets of items. I'm exporting at max, speed. I think I'm round robining. And I have 3 things getting pulled. And then 3 sides are getting pushed in. Or no, 2 sides are getting pushed in. So it still cannot supply these things with items fast enough. I'll have to think about that. But whatever I work out needs to be big. I want to be producing Ludicrite at insane rates, like way faster than this. This is actually like really slow. Instead of sending emerald blocks to my AE2 system, this colored chest right here, purple, blue, blue, we go right to the black chest. It gets imported on 3 sides, and you can see 40 mil emerald. And what I've done here, I didn't really realize it last episode, but apparently the strategy is you're supposed to use emerald to make this stuff. So that's what we're doing on each side. We got 2 sets of Venderium, 2 sets of Plutonium, and I can't reach that. 2 sets of blaze rods. And as you can see, it used to be Ludicrite, but then I changed it over. And blaze rods, I guess, are so cheap that this is backed up. That is fine. Yeah, emerald, 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 emerald. So I need to make this even bigger, like real big. But yeah, I think this room is kind of obsolete. It was kind of fun to make, but I don't think I need it. Ah, got the silver one now. Nice. Copper and tin. Yeah, I did those a while ago. Yeah, okay, so the quest book is not in the same order as that for whatever reason. I have finally made a quantum ring from AE2. I have never, ever, besides in a creative world, I should specify, made a quantum link chamber. It's really cool. You just make 8 of these quantum rings. And in this pack, I don't think it's expensive. I mean, at the stage I'm at, it's not expensive, I should clarify. But yeah, that's cheap, cheap. And then we got the one singularity linking with the one in the other world. So that's cool. So we just dump in 32 channels. There's no P2Ps, no nothing. I never even thought about testing that. I don't even know if it works. Something tells me it doesn't, but I guess I could test it. Anyways, so instead of using P2P tunnels, we are going directly from a face. We're sending 32 channels in. And that's it. They're going somewhere. So this was a tough decision here. It's like, where do you put the quantum ring in this base? Because I don't really want cables in the air, and I don't want to be digging in the snow, right? It's like, you know what? I only have 32 channels coming through it. So I overhauled Botania a little bit here. We should turn the magnet off when we're near Botania. I need like a sign. Turn off magnet. Botania's still cooking away here. I guess it's October, right? Getting close to Halloween. That's why those pumpkins are there. Jack-o'-lanterns. This is kind of annoying. It's not the end of the world, but if it's because I've got it on a chunk line, I'm assuming. But the portal is active, but it doesn't... You wouldn't think it was. I did automate one thing, or a few things here, rather. If we go to here, the Elven blocks are required for something. Ah, yes. Whatever this thing is, the collector. So let's just say, we need a couple hundred of those. Let's go. Let's drop in quartz in. That little plate is sending it 3 blocks in front of it, which is right there. So we can see it's getting made. I think if we just tap this, or we tap this, it updates. I tried putting like different pieces of redstone, like even a clock, clicking on that core to update it, but it didn't work. It doesn't matter, it's just a visual thing. It works, right? And then it gets the items back, and then it goes to, whoops, right here. This is the other side of the quantum ring. And I guess I'm going into grave detail here because I didn't know how these things worked. And they're actually really straightforward and they're actually really simple. I'm just powering it. And yeah, we pull out 32 channels. We're only using 4 of them. So we come here. And what I've done here is a little tiny subnet. It's got the storage bus. We're only extracting out of it. We're not trying to put in. Every one of these drives is partitioned and named. Gray petal, light gray petal, pink petal. So when I go here, we have all the colors of the petals. And going forward, anything else Botania related that I automate here, I guess besides that stuff, is going to have its own little drive that we partitioned with the workbench and we named with the anvil. Because like we are limited, right? We only got 32 to work with. 3 of them, I guess, are being used over here. One with this interface. And then, oh, this mess. I forgot about this. I tried to think of a way to do this myself, and I was having a really hard time. The Annihilation. I can't even talk. Annihilation. The Annihilation planes and the formation planes are kind of a weird block I've always had a hard time with. I watched a really old, like an 8-year-old YouTube video, and they use 2 controllers too. I tried for the life of me to figure out if there was a more compact way to do it, and I couldn't figure it out. And that's what the YouTube guide had. Mine's a slightly different configuration, but it's the same premise. It's because of how the Annihilation planes work. The Annihilation plane will not break the stone or the log because it's got nowhere to put them. And the only reason there's a controller here is because I needed 8 channels plus 8. That's 16. So already, that's not an ad hoc network, right? Ad hoc networks without a controller can only have 8 channels. So we have 16 plus a way to push the items out of this little subnet to somewhere else is actually 17. So that's the whole reason why we got 17 of 32 channels on this guy. And we're only even connected to the one face. Controllers are kind of funny when you start using them in this way. But all we're doing is... Actually, this is a little different, I think. Yeah, the brown here, this localized Annihilation plane subnet, is actually facing my network, I think. Is it blue? Yeah, it is. It's on my main network, even though it's blue. I guess it's technically purple. The storage bus is on an opposite side to where I'd usually put it because it's trying to push items and store them somewhere. And I'm telling it, you can only put Livingrock and Livingwood in that blue network. That's technically the purple network. So these guys are not breaking those logs because the only place they can store them is this storage bus, and that's all that it's allowing. And we're only set to insert. Of course, the other side of that's an interface. So what's happening now is we have another subnet. This one's even weirder because it's not the typical storage bus interface subnet. It's basically an interface, but instead of being a slabbed or a half interface, it's a full block one, but I'm using an import bus. All I'm trying to do is import oak logs on this side and stone on this side. A little bit of acceleration, a little bit of redstone logic on both of these. And what I've got here is when my main network has 2000 Livingwood or 2000 Livingrock, stop pulling in new items to do the craft. If we search living, we will see we've got another 1,000 or so items to go. And the formation plane is cool in the sense that you can actually tell it, hey, I want to spawn the block as a block or an item if you click this, and you can tell it I want stone here and oak here, just so you know my system doesn't prefer just to make stone, Livingrock, and then forget about this stuff. And it's the same story basically. You need this interface because you've got 16 channels on this side, and then you've got what? 4 actually? Wait a second. I'm just realizing these emitters are on completely the wrong network. That's never going to work. And to prove it to myself and to the viewer, we pop this on there, and then we ask for Livingwood. Livingwood. Yeah, it does not know about this stuff because you're on the wrong network. That's an oversight. See, these emitters are controlling the import bus, and the import bus is on the brown network, but these have to be on the blue network. So that means we're going to use another 2 channels out of these 32. That's kind of unfortunate. And the whole reason this stuff's blue too, instead of being typically the purple Fluix color to signify it's my main net, the only real reason I did that was because I didn't want this pipe connecting with this pipe. And I didn't want to use anchors because they're just kind of ugly. What I could do is do something like that because there's no reason why those can't be purple. Because remember, Fluix can connect to anything. But if I was to stick a Fluix here, it would lock into here, and then the whole subnet thing would break. So if we dial this back to 1,000, it shuts off. 1,000, it shuts off. We go 1,100, we go 1,200, it's on. 1,200 is a decent number, isn't it? 15, 15, there we go. To recap, short story long, this is how I've handled automating Botania. Really cool blocks, these Annihilation formation planes. Underused. I just wish there was a way to make them more compact, but I really can't dream of it. Like, the obvious solution is to just make it, instead of having 8, have 7, and then only have 1. Like, there's ways to do it without a controller, because it's really expensive, right? Imagine automating this early game or in an expert pack before I could just EMC these controllers here. Like, I'm just using them like nothing now. Like, I'm just sticking them anywhere I need more channels. It's like, boom. Like, I'm already thinking I'm going to put a controller here. Okay, so we want to do copy and then paste, and then we want to copy and then paste that, and then copy and paste that. Copy. I don't know what I do without this conduit thingy. I guess I would misconfigure a lot of stuff, but there we go. Cool. That's actually very visually appealing to look at, I will say. I like that. Okay, so in terms of singularities here, we still need silver and nickel. All right, update time. I see Yellorium just finished here. Singularity. I've been doing these all out of order, so I think Plutonium, is that the last one? Okay, there's Plutonium, so let's grab that. Wait, I wanted to show these off. Quest reward. I just got Bedrock, which is kind of neat. Probably not useful now. I was thinking those capacitors would be cool to farm. And of course you don't need them because they're EMC. Yeah, I thought this was really weird too. You can spawn the creeper boss from Pluto. I almost wonder if that's to get the last dungeon key. I don't really know why you get that, because I've kind of already had to do that by this point. Okay, so we can break this. Magnets on, hopefully. I don't want to lose these things. They're expensive, and I need many, many more still. Okay, so this is going to have to be plutonium. Click and drag. I like that feature. I didn't know it existed way back in 1.7. And then here, we want to reset this. Pop that down. So plutonium is going to kick away. So what I've decided to do here, because I realized I was running low on Ludicrite at the time. I don't think I am now. Yeah, I'm gaining it like crazy. I haven't increased the production of this at all, but what I did do was just only, this is the chest that's actually using Ludicrite, and it's manufacturing stuff that's relatively cheap for EMC. The other stuff's like in the 20,000s or so. So, you know, that's just doing the same logic, right? But here on these ones, I decided, you know what? I have the material. All I have to do is just drop the compressor down a level, pipe it in, and then return the export, I guess. Out the bottom, I think, is where I'm returning the singularity. But this redstone emitter here is actually tied into this conduit now, this insulated conduit. So it's actually touching this side and this side plus the top. So all the extractions are still set to 15. And I was to disable these, you'd see it slow down quite a bit. I believe the game plan is still to make this animation wand and then dupe Neutronium and then build a ton more compressors and have a compressor per resource, per singularity, and not just one. I'll do 3, one. Whoops. Oh, another good tip I should point out, Mr. Daddy Death, of course, told me a while back to use the translocators, so that's kind of what I was doing here. But I didn't have the glowstone. Fucked up. I didn't know that, but you just tap it, and then it kind of speeds it up, and it moves a stack at a time instead of one per. It's pretty sweet.